liars, cheaters, and thieves. Do you understand? So it's a hop, skip, and a jump to become murderers, and that's essentially what they are. They're going along with this thing. These are the establishmentarians that support the status quo, and they want it to continue in perpetuity because it's working to their benefit. They're on top of the world. They're sitting pretty. They're sitting on fortunes. They don't care that our money keeps getting debased, which essentially is the same as diluting it, if you understand it. As long as they get more, you understand? So just see money as a concentrate. There's X amount. Let's use gold or silver. You see, there's a finite amount of it. And Bitcoin is based on the same principle. They make one finite amount. Okay, so it intrinsically is sound in that sense that you can't produce more. It's very hard to produce it. It's costly to produce it. And it's a big deal to produce it. So it has a tendency to be stable. And it just gradually increases in worth. Okay? Like Gerald Celente points out, I mean, it's gold has held its value all through the millennia, basically. And you could trace it back and look at the buying power of an ounce of gold today and a buying power of an ounce of gold 1,000 years ago, and it's basically the same. Hundreds of years ago, 500 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago. And what you can get with that ounce of gold is basically the same. But when it comes to fiat money, if we don't have checks and balances, okay, if there's not stern oversight over the money printing operation, and we take it very seriously, and we never allow ourselves to go into the red, never, ever, ever, for no reason. I mean, yes, we have a government shutdown. Everybody's cut off. All the welfare recipients get cut off. Everybody that works in any government agency, city, county, state, federal, boom, all the quasi-proxy workers out there, subcontractors and whatnot, okay, they're all cut off. Boom, that's it. And then you see that's a way to check and balance things. That's oversight. That's when we get, to have a little come to Jesus with everybody saying, hey, you're all going down the tubes. We're all going down. We're sinking together. But instead, you see, they bail themselves out and let the people sink. And then what they do is they act like it's the fault of the poor people. They label them, and they don't even have to come out and say it. It's all kind of hidden. They project it. You understand? That these are bad people because they're lazy. Generally, if you look at the poor people, it's unspoken, but this is basically the way it is. They're lazy. A lot of them are drug addicts, alcoholics, moochers, takers, the unproductive. I mean, these are bad people. These are lowlifes. So we got to appease them because, hey, they're still human beings, and we got to show some compassion. So we start this social welfare industry. You understand? We've got food stamps, and we've got financial aid for certain select groups, exclusive groups, like maybe a pregnant woman can collect welfare, right? Just bare bones, right? Just enough maybe to survive if she's lucky. Then they got this Section 8, $50 billion a year goes into paying the cost of housing for poor people that can't afford housing. You understand what they do here. And it's really repugnant to me when I see who's really to blame and who's creating the need for these social welfare programs. Who's creating the poverty? Who's creating the wealth imbalance? And I want you to know who it is, who the tyrants are. They're in the halls of Congress, in the halls of the Senate. They're in the executive branch. All we've had is feckless, useless pustules in the executive branch for a long time. Your Obamas, your Clintons, your Bushes. Ronald Reagan was pretty much an inadvertent feckless pustule, okay, because he was really, basically a nice guy, and he kind of understood intuitively that debt was bad. I saw him on an episode of Johnny Carson, remember the Tonight Show, right? And he was bitching and moaning about this $24 billion debt back in the 80s when he was president. And I think it was while he was president. And just saying, this is a really bad thing, the pernicious nature of this debt and how the effects of this. And, he was very concerned about it. And look at it today, $22 trillion. And how much are people talking about the debt? You see, the mainstream media, most of these people you see are appeased. They're generally able to afford a middle-class life. And they're a shriveling minority, like I point out. In California, we're leading the way. That's why I call California the guinea pig state. It used to be, go back 15 years ago, and the majority of California residents were homeowners. You understand? The majority of California residents 15 years ago approximately were still homeowners. Today, the majority of California residents are renting. And that disparity is increasing as I speak. Do you understand? That's why I say that homeowners in California, the middle class, okay, because you can't call yourself middle class unless you can afford to realize the American dream of home ownership. It's that simple and cut and dry. That's a very good metric. Can you afford to be a homeowner in your community? Okay, if you can't, then you're poor, basically. And you would not believe the jobs people are doing. And apparently they can't afford to be homeowners because anybody with two brain cells to rub together can figure out that it's a hell of a lot cheaper in the long run to purchase than to rent, because renting is perpetual. It's forever. You're never paid off. There's no light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to renting. But when you purchase, once you get your mortgage paid off, hey, your cost of living's going down. The nut you have to crack is going down. Your burden's going down. The bar you've got to reach financially keeps getting lower and lower for you. So you go on easy street, right? The burden is lessening. Your sense of freedom is increasing. Your sense of security is increasing. So, yeah, we've got people, law enforcement can't afford it, apparently. I've got an engineer and an entrepreneur running a juice company together, husband and wife. They can afford a little duplex. This is the state of affairs in California. So if you're thinking of coming to California and making your way here, hey, let me tell you, it's rough. And what we've got a whole lot of migrants coming here. Okay, the state has opened up the borders to all the migrants. So anybody that's a weak link in the chain of Californians here, you're going to be under the bridge. You're going to be couch surfing. You're going to be blowing your brains out. You're going to be living in your car, whatever. You're going to do something, but you're not going to be able to afford housing costs because there's a huge depletion, and we've got a huge wave of migration coming into America from Latin America. Okay, and this is something Hillary and Obama made sure that they stirred up a hornet's nest down in Latin America. No doubt they appealed to corruptible leadership down there, and they're putting the people in debt. They're diluting their currency like they're doing here, right? Misery loves company. They can't have anybody doing good. They can't have Americans saying, hey, I'm going to South America. I'm going to Central America because the standard of living is better down there than here. They can't have that. You see, they need people. Talk to the Chamber of Communists. Oh, Freudian slip. The Chamber of Commerce. Talk to them and understand that, hey, the more the merrier. People equal money, right? So if you're invested in stock markets, Wall Street, all this kind of thing, you understand that these are consumers that consume consumables. They're buyers. They take out loans. You understand, it spurs the economy economically. People do. So yes, bring them all in. Nice, strong, young immigrants. They're able to displace the weak, older native Californians here, and this is the way it is. And of course, housing. They all need housing. So what they've got is these sponsors. Look into sponsorship. This is a way to circumvent the normal immigration laws. They say, hey, these people are refugees. They're coming from, they're threatened by violence. Look, they say, so they swore to it right here, and they signed their, that's all they basically have to do. They don't have a criminal record. And so basically the floodgates are open in California. So if they're in some other state and they say they don't feel welcome there, for whatever reason, they're worried ICE is going to get them, they all come flock to California. And there's all these sponsors that shelter them. You see them all over the place. Right on my street, I see it all. You know what's going on. In and out, new faces, new cars, and you get, that if you see that, you know what's going on. And I love these people. Listen, I'm no xenophobe. As far as I'm concerned, I welcome everybody in the whole world to move to America, but let's do it in an orderly fashion. Let's take care of our own desperate, destitute people first. And I don't have any regard for migrants coming here that don't do that. They're not sensitive to the existing economic, financial issues we have, big issues with people living and dying out in the street. Trump's putting pressure on the mayors and the leadership down in Los Angeles and in California and telling them, look, do something, man. I want an end to this. And then it's, oh, well, he's trying to say we got to put them in internment camps. And no, we're not going. So it's better to have feces on the streets. We've got this Mayor Wiener in San Francisco objecting, while they got hypodermic needles, the homeless, wallowing around in their feces and vomit from people I hear. I mean, I've been to San Francisco a lot. I haven't seen it. But while it's true, I haven't gone into those particular districts too much. Though I did have a daughter that lived near the Tenderloin for a while, and there was a methadone clinic near there. But I didn't see feces in the street too much. But then they've got these trucks that go by, and they spray the alleyways regularly with water. I mean, up and down, right up to the edge of the building. So apparently they do have a big problem with this. So it's serious. There's a part of America that's like a third world country. But, we've got to welcome all these immigrants. Otherwise, you're not compassionate. You're mean. You're a xenophobe. You're a white supremacist, for God's sake. I mean, you're a racist if you don't welcome everybody in the world to come here. And I strongly resent the implications because I am a devout egalitarian. I'm a devout idealist. I am a patriot. I'm a good American. You understand? And a good American is one that dissents when there's tyrants in charge. And I'm not saying Trump's the tyrant, but if he can't do something tangible, if he can't do something momentous to throw the tyrants down, put them in their, parent them, okay, and not be just another feckless pustule of excuse for a president, then I've got no regard for him. He's going to go down in history as just, in my mind, as just another feckless pustule excuse for a president. That's all I got to say to him. And what I believe he needs to do is put the Federal Reserve in their place. Talk to the people at the Treasury. Say, can we do it? Can we supplant Federal Reserve notes? Can we get a payoff figure? Can we take over this entity? That's what he needs to do. That's it. He'd do exactly what JFK was doing some 56 years ago before he was ruthlessly murdered. I mean, folks, we're talking about biblical level evil goings on here. Okay, this is stuff God takes notice of. Okay, this is stuff that Jesus Christ sees and the holy angels understand what's going on. Okay, these people are up to no good. And who said that the degree of tyranny you live under is the degree you accept? We're created just a little lower than the angels. We've got big shoes to fill. We can't be cowards. We can't shrink away from this issue. We can't be passive. We can't be indifferent. We can't be complacent. We can't sit on our laurels. We can't go with the path of least resistance. Go with the flow. We can't do that. We can't prescribe to an ignorance is bliss philosophy. We can't say, hey, somebody else's problem and divorce ourselves. Remember, I mean, that's ungodly stuff. Okay, you've got to be invested in not just worldly things, these temporary things, these ephemeral, temporal things of this world. While they have their place, and it's all nice to have great fortune and all the materialism you want and services and commodities forever that your little heart can dream of. That's all well and fine. I wouldn't withhold that from anybody. I don't think God would either. But that's stuff we can all have access to if the days weren't so evil. So you've got to care about other people. You've got to understand this is utter madness, okay, writ large, up one side, down the other, and to the nth degree. There's no excuse for this. This is evil. The days are very evil. Come out of Babylon. Come out of confusion. Come out of ignorance. Give a damn. Be invested in godly things. And knowledge is a godly thing. True, accurate education, okay, empowers people. Knowledge is power.